All right, James Hill here at the Black College Football Hall of Fame Golf Classic here in Milton, Georgia. And obviously, Mr. Williams, you've got a unique perspective. Your dad is a legend.
Yes,
We know him from Grambling State University.
absolutely.
We know him from Zachary. We know him from, it's burned in my mind, 42-10 San Diego.
Final score.
Talk a little bit about your perspective of growing up in that household and kind of watching that nonstop from birth.
Well, I'll say my perspective was a little bit different. Growing up, it was just my dad. I just saw him do the regular dad things, changing diapers, throwing my little sister up in the air, throwing me up in the air, crawling all over him. It was just a regular dad type of thing. And I want to say, when I started kindergarten and started going to school and kind of hearing my teachers talk about who my dad was, and I remember very clearly February, Black History Month. I brought him to school and everybody, got real excited, and that's when it really opened my eyes and I was like, oh wow, I kind of start to pay attention and really see who my dad was.
How special is it now that you fully understand it, and when we look at history and icons, I mean, this is a big deal. I mean, there's no word I can say to capture it, but how special is it?
It's real special, man. It's real special. I don't take it for granted, knowing who he is and knowing the impact that he had on the game. And, when you hear people come up to him and say you're like the Martin Luther King of football, that's a huge deal. That's a huge deal, and I don't take that for granted hearing that, and I know he doesn't. I see how he gives back and the way he treats people, and I don't take that for granted at all. Just seeing him, he showed me the way to handle people and the way to go about things.
Take us back to the first time you can remember when he put a football in your hands.
He really did, man. He let me pick it up. Honestly, it was probably 3-4 years old. I was swinging little plastic golf clubs. I was picking up a football. I was picking up a basketball. Never really picked up a baseball, but basketball is really my first love. That's really, what I did first. He never really just pushed me to anything. He just kind of let me just fall in love with what I fell in love with, and football ended up, being the thing that I fell in love with, man. And I ran with it. He was great about, man, whatever you do, I'm gonna support you. Now I'm gonna be hard on you. If you want to do this, I'm gonna be hard on you. I'm gonna tell you the truth, but I'm not gonna push you to anything. If you don't want to do it, okay, fine, but we gonna do something, we gonna do something. So I always loved that about him.
Now, your own legacy and the stamp that you put on the game yourself as a hard worker and a student athlete, take us into that experience.
I thought it was great, man. I thought it was great. I feel like I worked my butt off. I feel like I wasn't as successful as I wanted to be as a player, but I feel like I have so much to give back to the game, and that's why I love coaching now, to try to give back to the game and kind of, redeem myself in the sense of giving back to football and just helping the next person out, helping the next man out, just trying to get better.
Coach Rob's legacy, Eddie Robinson, the big G on the helmet. What does that mean to you personally?
It means everything to me. When you see that G, you walk in the airport, you walk in the grocery store, you at a football game, anywhere, and you just see that G. It's a sense of pride. You look at somebody and you give them that head nod like Grambling, and they automatically know Graham. I was in the airport the other day, matter of fact, coming down here, and a man was walking down the aisle. He had a Grambling shirt on. I said, I like that shirt. He said, G-Man? I said, yes, sir, all the way through. And he said, G-Man. It's like a sense of pride. You kind of understand, the things that you've been through. When you see that G, everybody know that they have something in common.
Black College Football Hall of Fame. Talk about days like this. It's a 3-part episode.
Yep.
There's the induction ceremony in February downtown. Today there's golf.
Yep.
And then this year kicks off Canton,
Yep.
the
Yep.
football game. Talk a little bit about the importance of these 3 aspects.
Oh my goodness, this is huge for Black College football, for football period. I think the banquet is outstanding. I've been going since I was young, when it first started, just to learn the history, man, and how many guys paved the way for people like me and all these other young guys coming up, like Tariq Cohen, all these guys. I think it paved the way for so just to see them be just to see them come back and be appreciated, man, is great, man. I can't complain at all, and I love that they putting the game in Canton now. I think it's gonna be amazing.
Mr. Shaq's legacy, talk a little bit about that.
Oh man, Shaq is like an uncle to me. He's one of my mentors. I call him and we talk all the time, at least once a month. You know what I mean? He's always real, and I don't think he gets enough respect, honestly. You know what I mean? What he did coming from Grambling, going to the LA Rams and the Buffalo Bills and doing what he did, you know, on the football field, but even off the football field, just paving the way for young black quarterbacks and young black players, period. And then going into the front office and doing what he did in the NFL from an executive standpoint, I think was just as big as what he did, you know, as a player, because now you opening doors, you know, behind the scenes, because it's easy for black players to get into, you know, playing. They see our athletic ability, but now we trying to, you know, go beyond that and be behind the desk and make decisions and be in those authoritative positions. And I think James Harris is one of the guys that opened up the doors for us to do that.
In closing, any final comments as we think about black college football, the SWAC, the NEAC, Grambling, your dad, yourself, the legacy, and again, it's a beautiful thing.
I just want people to start paying attention and start paying respect to, you know, black college football and black college, period. You know what I mean? I don't think we get enough respect. You know, when I go out and I tell people I'm from Grambling, you kind of get a look like, okay, Grambling, but you don't get as much respect as I feel like we should have. You know what I mean? I feel like we paved the way. Like before the LSUs and the Alabamas and all that, we were that because our guys couldn't go there. You know what I mean? So you got to I still feel like we should still be given the same respect and not put on that pedestal. I don't want to say put on the pedestal, but just give us the same respect because, you know, we pretty good too.